Hi everybody. Sorry, I was still setting up. I thought I'd better get up and going here. Yeah, I know. I said I wasn't going to do any broadcasts until Thursday or Friday. Well, you'll understand why I'm doing this one here in just a few minutes. I just put up a Periscope to let everybody on Twitter know that I was going to be here, okay? Hi, I'm Roy Potter. This is the Potter Expositor. Thank you for coming. And this is not a joyous occasion by any means. I'm not happy that we've had to do this, but after I give you a little background on what's occurred, you'll understand why I did it, why a group of us did it. So you'll notice that the name of this, I named it a little different than I did the Periscope. This is called, of course, Flypaper, the Q Disjoint. And I think that's a good way to call this. I don't know how long my connection will last here. You know how these live streams are. They just, for me, I'm using my phone and the Wi-Fi isn't really good all the time. So let me just get down to brass tacks here. I won't have time for questions, at least not right now. Let me give you the background. Okay, everybody knows about 4chan and 8chan, and that an Anon by the name of Q has been posting on 4chan and 8chan different boards, okay, over the last 3 months approximately. And it's been in support of Trump's program. And they've been giving us intel information. Q, as far as we can tell, has been a team, okay? And I think that's pretty obvious to anybody who's worked in the field before that this was a team. And I won't name any particulars. There are quite a few of them, apparently. Some that are on Twitter, at least peripherally, are helping the team out in some way, whether directly or not. That's not really an issue. But the point is that this intel information was coming out. And it was really a good thing, because it was helping the collective consciousness of all of the patriots, all of the people, all of the individuals to start asking the questions, because Q is using a Socratic rhetorical method rather than dictating information, asking questions so that you would go and find the answers, so that you would own those answers for yourself. And it was designed to cause this communication, this discussion in the community that would expand out and prepare the American people for the storm. Okay, that's kind of the basics of what was going on there with that. Yes, I do believe Trump was behind it. I do believe that. I can't prove it. A lot of the verifications between the tweets and the Q posts seem to match up a lot of times. We now know that that may have actually been an inside job by Twitter infiltrating the system. And so nothing's for sure. It's like I've always said, deception is everywhere. We don't really know who's doing these things. Yes, Trump has kind of given us, I think, some indications that he is behind it, but we need something more definitive when there are this many infiltrations, this many compromises. But I was willing to just kind of go along with it because the discussion was great. And then around the 24th of November, or shortly thereafter, around the 1st of December, I just started noticing some things that didn't make sense. I'm not going to point fingers at any individuals, and I know their names. I'm not going to do that. Sometimes when you get involved in something that's this important, you want to take it to yourself, and people have accused me of wanting to do that. No, I have no interest, as I've said before, in fame, fortune, clicks, followers, none of that. Okay, I'm interested in freedom, in the perfect law of liberty, in getting this information out and letting it be discussed. Now, do experts have to start the discussion like the Anons, the researching Anons have claimed, and that Q seem to want to push? I'm sorry, but I can't buy that. You know, and I've watched this thing over this period of time, and I warned it would become a cult. I warned that there would be some dangers, and whoever was running this, whether it be Q or whoever, they ignored that for some reason. Maybe because they thought that the greater good was the discussion of the information. But when the boards, when the Q and when the Anon started clamping down and saying that only they could do searches, and Q seemed to go along with that, probably to protect his or their posts, which is reasonable to an extent. But this secrecy has always been a problem, and I've talked about that time and time again. Have I not? Have I not done that? Even JFK said, these things in secrecy are repugnant. Now, operational security requires some cautions, and I understand that. And of course, some of these Q posts, as I've said, were probably codes to operatives in the field because, they use newspapers, radios. They'll even have radio stations that at a certain time of day, and if any of you watch spy shows, you should know this. They'll say a certain thing at a certain time, which is a code to do a certain thing, right? I understand all that. And that's fine. But we don't need the QAnons then, if that's all that's for. We don't need the researchers to tell us about all the other information if that's all it's going to be used for. Do you see the problem? So the Anons started to grab this, the board started grabbing this, and I'll just put it this way, that they started to clamp down, and then finally what occurred was a lot of people like myself, we've had, and I'm going to name them here, and I hope they don't mind, you guys, I'm just going to name you. That everybody knows anyway. Everybody has been talking about QAnon, right? Jerome Corsi, Tracy Beans, Isaac Green with Anti-School, Jordan Sather, myself, Scott Anthony, American Intelligence Network. There's just a lot of us because that was the idea, ladies and gentlemen, that this thing would be discussed openly across the spectrum. Well, what we saw, and I realized that Q was having some trouble controlling at the compromise of the boards. I understand that, but that's inherent with the method that he chose, or they chose. And it just seemed like to me that they weren't making the proper adjustments to take care of this. If they need to send operational information to operatives in the field, they don't have to use the same channel that they're talking to the public with these Socratic questions. It just didn't make any sense to me, and it still doesn't. And there are a lot of people out there that are going to be upset at me for saying that. I'm not saying they couldn't use it. I'm just saying that when it came down to the fact that they're so concerned with infiltration of the boards that they shut off people like Tracy Beans and myself, and they'll say, well, it was just the research board, right? It doesn't matter. The point is that they attacked those of us who are talking about it outside the Anon group, the Anon community. And they started calling us. Q is actually calling the board owners the self-promoters. It is true he wasn't talking about, people like Tracy Beans and myself. But the Anons took it to mean anybody who is outside the research board, okay? Basically. I've never even posted on a Chan, ever, in my life, okay? Never have. I don't know that Tracy Beans has. I doubt it. She was very close to the board owners on 4chan there for a while, I suppose. But regardless, the point is that then the accusations came out that we're self-promoters because we're talking about the Q phenomenon and we're analyzing it and we're talking about it. Lionel Nation, for instance, he was doing it. Well, this thing became a cult. And if you don't know what a cult is, go look it up, all right? It had all of the characteristics. It started to develop all of the characteristics of a cult. One of the most dangerous things about a cult is that if you think outside the box of the cult, you're labeled an apostate, a betrayer, or whatever, okay? Even if you're not a member of the group. And I got called that tonight, and I'll tell you about that here in a few minutes. I was called that before, but it happened again tonight. So, about a week ago, this whole thing with, it was over a week ago now, of course, this whole thing with the DEFCON came out, and people are going to say, oh no, here we go again. This was a key event, ladies and gentlemen. However you look at it, this was a key event that really opened this up as to the dangers involved here and the problems, okay? Despite what happened in Hawaii, yesterday, or whenever it was, with that whole situation that Q apparently was supposed to have foretold was going to happen, and he may have. I'm not going to dispute that at this point. That's not the purpose of this broadcast. What did happen was, when I brought up that DEFCON thing, all of a sudden, the Anons started attacking a lot of people and making threats. And I put some information out on this channel about that a couple of days ago, yesterday, day before, and on Twitter. And what it came down to was, basically that we have no right to be there. We have no right to be doing this. That we are doing this for fame and fortune, and we're taking the spotlight off of the researching Anons that Q is giving this information to. insulting the intelligence of people like myself and others, and I'll just use myself as an example because I don't want to make anybody feel bad that if I use their name. But y'all should know who it is anyway. So, in fact, there was a post on the 8chan basically calling for the death of myself, Tracy Beans, and Ann Coulter. And some other posts were headed towards those three plus two others. And I'll just let that go for now because I haven't really talked to them. But after all I've said already, you'll probably be able to figure it out, right? So that's when the game changed, okay? That's when I said that's enough. Is Q going to step in here? Are his people on Twitter going to step in here and call the hand on this? No, it didn't happen. As a matter of fact, there were some other assaults made against these very good people, Tracy Beans, Jerome Corsi. Not so much me, but it was there. This is unacceptable in a free society, especially in a situation like this, when this Q, who supposedly represents Trump, is sending this information down for the population, the American people, to try to get prepped for what's coming. Okay? It was unacceptable. And the argument will be made, but the non-researchers need to get all this information and then package it and give it to us. I don't need them to do that for me. Okay? And I don't think Tracy Beans does. And I know a lot of other people who have this same background that don't need that. And the anons are guessing anyway. If you look at the research boards, they don't know any better. I mean, sure, they have all the access. They can run through the Google and do all these search engines and stuff. You don't think we can't do that? There was a problem here. Okay? There was a big problem. And when this threat was made, that was the end. Okay? So what did I do? Do you remember what I did? Okay? I got angry. And it was righteous anger. And it was necessary. Okay? On the DEFCON deal. And then on the follow-up on what this whole thing was with the threats. Right? I made some amends with some people I think are connected to Q. But I didn't let them off the hook. I just backed off a little bit because I wanted to watch for a little while. And that's when we set up the Flypaper. Okay, the Flypaper op. And what that is basically we set up a guinea pig. Guess who that was, right? Guess who the guinea pig was? And, we do some things to get attacked, hopefully so that we can identify the people, whether it's, pseudonym handles or whatever. That's not important. It's just trying to get the information as to who these people might be that made these threats against these very good Americans, okay? And so there we are. We ran the Flypaper operation. I got some help from some other intel people that have done this type of thing before, helped us to figure out what to do and how to go about it. Military intelligence folks, of course, those are the guys I know. I don't really know guys in the CIA. Well, I did at one time, CIA. The FBI won't talk to me, even retired agents, because I'm just obviously I'm a problem with that, because I'm so much against that whole system. But at any rate, so we did this, and I said I wasn't going to do anything for a few days, and yet I'd come back on at important points, especially when these accusations continued. And then as these anons, whether with their pseudonyms or their anon deal, started to come and attack me, we just started keeping track of you guys. Isn't that nice? Yeah, we did. We kept track of you. And we have ways of finding out who you are. I'm not going to go there yet, ladies and gentlemen, you anons who did all this. I'm not going to go there yet. Neither are the people I'm working with. If you stop this nonsense. Okay? I'm speaking to you. You don't own the boards. You don't own the American people. And I got a notice tonight. Let me tell you what happened. An individual found a post on 8chan, on the board, on the research board. And it's on my Twitter. I'll see if I can attach it to this somehow. I don't know how I'll do that, but I'll tell you what it said. On these live streams, it's not like I'm not set up to do the screenshots and all that. Basically, it was not just an insult to those of us who were trying to do this, but it was basically calling for some retribution against us. Again, basically that's what it was. And making fun of us, that, you know, we're so stupid that we can't do anything. That's their attitude. That's what these Anons are like. I'm not saying all of them, but obviously the people that are controlling a lot of this. And they may have ties to Twitter. Maybe they're funneling this whole thing through Twitter, making it look like Trump so that they can keep this little virtual reality game of theirs going. I don't know, because nobody stood in to protect the people that were threatened by these Anons. And I kept looking for it and it never happened. I'm jumping around a little bit here. Getting back to what happened tonight. So we've been keeping track of these people who have been attacking me. And you all know who you are, and we know who you are, okay? Isn't that just peachy? Isn't it really? Oh, I yell too much. Oh, I get so emotional. Oh, you know, why don't I control my temper? I had too many beers. Like, that's... I'm going to tell you something. I never get drunk, okay? I never do. You know, not 1, 2 beers. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. You know, I'm not that much of a lightweight. And I usually don't drink during the live streams anyway. I did it as a point, okay? That doesn't even matter. The point is that these attacks came, and we just kept taking names, you know. Oh, yeah, that guy. Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, yeah, there's another one. We got a bunch of you. And a couple of you are responsible for those threatening posts. All right? Don't do it again. You hear me? Don't do it again. All right. So after that tonight, there was the guy posted the link to the channel where this post was, this very demeaning post to all of us Americans. The Anons were making this demeaning post against all of us. And this shows their attitude. And this guy sent me the link. I put it up on Twitter. And guess what? They attacked me for it, saying, that's against the rules. You can't do that. Using a 4-letter word, which I've used on other occasions, but to just show you I don't always get angry. I won't use it here, but it's the duck you one, you know, duck, right? That one. And I just responded back to him. I said, it's a rule I never agreed to. It's a rule I never signed a contract for. Neither has any of the other American people that I know of, especially with the way you're treating us and the way you're handling this whole thing. We don't even know if it's really true of the stuff that's coming down from Q, if it hasn't been altered. Now, of course, the indication is that it's not at the present time. But we really don't have any real surefire way of knowing that. Because these Anons are controlling the board owners. We don't know who they are. And this is nothing against the board owners, I don't think. I'll reserve a little judgment on that at this point. All right, so that's the bottom line. So I couldn't let that pass, not after the threats, and we had to do something. So there we are. That was the operation. It's a Flypaper operation. They landed and exposed themselves. It's on Twitter. You can go look at it if you like on my Twitter account. It's at Royston Potter, at capital R-O-Y-S-T-O-N, capital P-O-T-T-E-R. And some other people are probably retweeting it because I retweeted the heck out of it. And I'm probably going to retweet it some more. People need to understand what's happening here. Okay, so now I'm going to apologize to Q, to President Trump, and all of you if, in fact, I've messed up your mission here. That was not my intent. But you can't keep ignoring the American people and playing these silly games. I understand the purpose of the Socratic method. I understand the purpose of sending coded messages to operatives. But this was getting out of hand. Now, in Q's defense, okay, and whoever is behind this, they answered me last week on the DEFCON thing and really threw us off again, saying it had nothing to do with the DEFCON deal. Q actually answered me, and an individual on Twitter who has been associated with it in some way, even though they're not supposed to be any intermediaries, said that it was for me, okay? Saying that this DEFCON thing was supposed to be clear that it wasn't for the defense situation, but it was for the definite confirmation of the Trump tweets as correlated with the Q posts. Yet there were other things that were said that definitely left it to look like it was a DEFCON situation, okay? And you can go back and look at my videos about that where I explain it. So then some other things happened, and then a couple of days ago, actually it was probably yesterday, I lose time because I don't, as you can tell, I haven't been sleeping for days. You know, all of us have been working very hard on these things. And I sent out a tweet, and I said, I'm really beginning to wonder what the problem is with Trump. Why hasn't he explained Las Vegas, right? A big deal, and we've heard nothing about it, and his FBI keeps covering it up. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have a purpose. I asked the question. Do you understand? Okay. I said, and there were some other things, but that was the key one. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. And guess what? It wasn't but a few hours later, and Q puts up a post basically where he says, the Las Vegas thing has to be kept under wraps for now. This is basically what he's saying. But the truth will come out shortly. It's just been necessary to keep it covered up at this point. The truth is going to come out. Probably this week. I think it might very well be this week with all the things are going to break this week. By the way, this is going to be a big week. Everybody, you know, you need to pay attention. We're still not sure what happened with the Hawaii thing. And of course, that was the other thing I listed is what happened in Hawaii. Why hasn't Trump told us really more about that? I personally think I don't have any inside information. I've looked at the whole thing using what's called a course of action matrix. And it appears to me that it was basically a deep state attempt to make Trump make a mistake. That's what it looks like at this time. I've heard other people say, well, no, it was a Trump operation to try to get the information from the NSA in Hawaii. Having Rogers is in control on that anyway. I don't see why that would be necessary. But at any rate, the point is there were some possible scenarios. The one that I had decided on was that this was a deep state operation to make Trump pull the nuclear trigger prematurely and make him look bad. I don't know that that's the case, but that's kind of how it was starting to add up to me and some other people, okay, who had independently looked at this as well. So, like I said, Q puts up the post and says, okay, the Las Vegas thing, it had to be kept secret at this point, but the truth is going to come out. Be patient. And I took it as a direct address to me. That might be a little egotistical, egocentric, but let's just say it was to us. I asked the question for us, and so it was answered for us. Okay? And that's a good thing. But at the same time, these situations continued to happen with these attacks, whether it's by Media Matters with Twitter, and the Anons who are infiltrated in there, who have associations with Twitter and Media Matters, I don't know. And you all know who Media Matters is, right? David Brock, you know about that? Yeah, okay. The Soros-funded things. By the way, Soros doesn't use his own money. They stole it from us, the Pentagon money, the $2.3 trillion that was lost there, the money from the Department of Defense, the money from the Army, the money all over the place. That's the money that's been used against us. Soros isn't going to use his own money. I hope you guys really know that. I've said it was Soros money because they funneled it through him. They laundered it through him. The DOD can't, or the CIA can't go out there and, give money to the Black Lives Matter people or, whatever. They got to do it, through another way. And so Soros was basically the funnel for those funds. He didn't spend a dime of his own money. You can bet on that. However, if what we're hearing is true, with the executive order where they're seizing assets of people who are involved in human trafficking and stealing our resources, you can bet that a lot of Soros's, a lot of Obama's, a lot of Hill. As a matter of fact, I know some things from Obama's were seized. Okay, well, as far as I can tell, not firsthand, as I said before, but through the grapevine. Nothing classified, but just, hey, did you think about this, Potter? Can you connect that? And that kind of thing. So at any rate, that's all going on. And of course, today there was a post by Q where he says, and I think a lot of people, I'm not really sure who it was talking about. I think it was actually Prince Aloid Talal that it was talking about. It may not. It may have been talking about somebody else. But that he can't get out of prison because he doesn't have any money to buy his way out of prison because it's already been seized. So he's in a catch-22. So those things are definitely happening. That's apparently you can even glean that from the mainstream media. So stuff is happening. I don't know about all the indictments. A couple have been served. We know that. But it's a slow process if it even has a lot of validity to it. I personally believe it does. Okay. I personally believe that Donald Trump actually, despite everything, he's still a man, but despite all of the problems that are involved and whatever, I believe he is not an agent, an agent of the black hat deep state. There's a deep state, but I don't believe he's an agent of the black hat deep state. So far, it appears that way. Monty and I have talked about this, and no, I didn't get my ideas from him. I think if you talk to Monty, that's Monograph, you would find out that, he and I have been a little opposite ends on a couple of things. I'm not a yes man. If I'm not a yes man to a 3-star general, I'm not going to be a yes man to Monty, okay? It just ain't going to happen. And I'm certainly not going to be a yes man to some Yahoo Anon who tells me I broke the rules by posting a link that's on a public service net. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah. All right, so that's the story. All right, so we've got the people identified, at least a number of them. And the real purpose of this thing, I did it on Periscope, on Twitter, and I'm doing it here. Stop it, guys. You don't want this to go any further. Do your little research, do your little virtual reality and all that, but don't you go threatening people. That's not going to work. All right? Not going to work. All right, everybody, let me see if I can answer a few questions. Stop it, Roy. Who's this guy, Winter Moon? What do you mean, stop it? Don't tell me what to do. Buddy, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. Are you kidding me? Go away. Jeez. All right, yeah, let's see if I can answer any questions here. And by the way, all of these guys these trolls are on here calling us all these names. They're either weak-minded, or they're being paid by Media Matters or by the CIA, maybe even Twitter or YouTube. You think? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Twitter has been shadow banning people like crazy. Yeah, it's been real bad. We caught them doing some really bad stuff today. Really bad. On a couple of our patriots who are just trying to get information out there. Oh, but the Anons, right? The Anons, they're going to take care of that for us, right? Yeah. You have to take your liberty in your own hands, ladies and gentlemen. There have been a lot of court cases that say when you go in front of a court, you have to be belligerent in defense of your rights. Well, if you're going to do that in court, are you going to make sure you do it against a fellow citizen that's trying to restrict you? Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can answer any questions. I'm tired. This has been going on a long time, so I'm not going to do this for long, okay? But I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Okay, Q did say bye, Jack. Exactly. Trump didn't take kindly to Twitter, through the CIA attacking his Twitter account and all the other things that are going on. So I really do believe that Trump is moving on this. There's going to be antitrust violations. There are going to be conspiracy charges. There are going to be probably charges on the denial of First Amendment rights, civil rights violations. I mean, it's going to be nasty. So Jack is in a lot of trouble. Okay, that's the Twitter guy at Jack. Okay, in case some of you guys don't know. Don't worry about the doomsday scenario right now. Frankly, I think it's going to be a little bit better than we thought it was going to be. Okay, Q, is it real or a LARP? I think we've seen a mixture. Okay, people posting as Q or posing as Q that really weren't. Again, this is Q's fault. I'm sorry, but the buck has to stop where it's supposed to stop. And there were other ways to handle this. And I'm not an expert. I don't claim that. But watching all of this happen and then to not fix the threats against good patriots was a problem. And that's where I broke. That's when I said I'm done. Well, I still pay attention to Q, but I'm not going to be a member of the cult. I'm not a yes man. I'm not going to be there, asking for my permission to enter your temple, to worship your God. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'll do it on the outside in my own temple, which is me. Okay, for you. So I think it's primarily real. The verifications, as I explained the other day, with Twitter breaking into the DMs on our Twitter accounts, it's very possible that some of what we thought were verifications for Trump were probably, could be, I'm not saying this for a fact, Trump needs to explain this, Q needs to explain this, but that there could have been people like Steve Bannon, who was really a mole, on the inside taking the picture from the airplane, taking a picture of the Christmas tree ornament, taking a picture of the pin, and then sending that to these Twitter infiltrators, these deep state people, these anons, to keep their little virtual reality thing going. So Q has to really explain this stuff, okay? Most people aren't even going to ask the questions that I ask because they have no idea, how these things actually work, all right? But I saw all kinds of possibilities for other things to happen. But we've actually seen Trump do some things. But how intuitive do you really have to be, especially if you do have inside information, to leak it out to somebody so that the people who used to follow the mainstream media, and Dr. Joseph Farrell pointed this out, people who used to follow the mainstream media, they see that going down. Oh, we've got to get these people trapped in this web, the internet, the chans, whatever, those things. We've got to lock in our market there. And I'm calling it a market, but it's also what? Operation Mockingbird, NDAA 1314, Congress saying it's okay for the government to lie to us and use propaganda. Can you believe your representative said it's okay to use your tax money against you to lie to you for the benefit of the CIA? Who writes this stuff? Okay, let's see. I want to... Is April my ex-wife? I wasn't even going to say her name. I'm sorry. Scott, I'm sorry. That's funny. It fits, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. I won't say anymore. I will say this. At no time have I ever attacked a person's personality, their background, their persona, their character, okay, to make myself feel better. I have questioned their sources. I have questioned their reporting, but I never sat here and called anybody names. Okay, I don't do that. Now, there have been times when I've been engaged in an argument with somebody on here and there, or other places. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, when I was a police officer, you better believe I call people names, right? Because they don't understand anything else. It's like a form of force. That's a funny story too. I'll have to tell it sometime. When I do my life story, I'll tell you all these things. But yeah, so it was really inappropriate, to try to twist and defame my career, I doubt very seriously that a lot of the people that were attacking me made it to lieutenant colonel with a top secret SCI. And no, you don't know everything I did. You can pull all my records. People who've been in the military know your records don't tell every single thing you do. That's not how it works. Sorry. That's enough on that. Okay, so I feel bad for her, actually. I think she went too far. How is my evening going? Well, actually, it's pretty good now. When you have a successful operation, you're really happy. It's how does it go? I forget what movie it was, but it was somebody who said, "I really love it when a good plan comes together." Hi everybody. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, the Saudi Petrogate thing's going to blow up this week. I think you're going to see that come out. If Q is correct, I think we're going to see that whole thing blow up this week. And I think a lot of people in the FBI and the LVMPD and the BLM they weren't involved in the Las Vegas shooting, but a lot of feds are going to be going down the next little while. A lot of them. I'm pretty sure of that. Do I buy the story of a reaction study for the false alarm? That would be totally irresponsible, absolutely disgusting if it happened. People that did that, look, we're already getting reports that people had heart attacks. Okay? No, that's like conducting the chemical experiments on the American people without telling them. That's a crime. Okay, there are some laws that say if it's done for research purposes, it's okay. We're going to do away with that. Okay, Trump needs to do away with that. That's wrong if it exists, and even if it does, it's unconstitutional. So it has no efficacy, force, or virtue, and it needs to be prosecuted. People that did that. So no, I don't think it was a study. I think they were really trying to go after Trump to get him to slip up. That's my take. Don't know if it's true, but that's my take. I don't know about Mueller. Of course, Tracy Beans, Imperator Rex 3, and some others, Thomas Wichter, a lot of good researchers, and they might be right. Okay, that Mueller was told, you know, we've got the goods on you on the uranium one thing and your other crimes, and you can either help us or you can go to Gitmo right now. It's very possible. The jury's still out on that for me, as it is on Sessions. I've got to see something happen, and I think we are now. Sessions opened the Uranium One investigation. Good grief, you know, they maneuvered it. Somebody maneuvered it to get the Bundys set free. And as you all know, I had two canaries in the coal mine, right? The first, actually, it's reversed order, but getting the Bundys out was one, and that was superb. Okay, that gave me a lot of hope. The next is that Hillary Clinton and her ilk are collared. That's the next canary in the coal mine, because those are big political moves. If Trump actually does this, if Trump and Sessions or whoever he's got working on it, I know there's an investigative team out of the sight and mind of the American people that don't really see what's going on. I know that for sure. If in fact they go after Hillary and Trump is willing to take not just the political fallout, but the real danger of going after the pedophile core of the wickedness in this world, headquartered, very much of it, in D.C., New York, Los Angeles. You all know what I'm talking about. If he actually does that, then that'll be the next canary, and we all have to get behind him on it. I'm behind him on that. Craig Sawyer, you know the whole story, okay, on those things. So I'm not sure about Mueller. It depends on what he does. By their fruits you shall know them. So far, he really hasn't done anything. I mean, if you think about it, he really hasn't done a thing. You know, the Flynn thing on a process crime, which is going to get overturned because of the situation, and the same thing on Manafort. I can't believe the Dems and the deep state have been that stupid. And I really don't think they were. I think this was a show, in my estimation, by Trump so that he could show the American people what they've been dealing with for the last 60 years. He had to really let their crimes and their corruption be exposed. If he had just gone after them, we wouldn't have believed it. It's so outrageous to think what they've done in the Bohemian Grove, what they've done in the pedophile places, the Leda Express, the basements of some of these places, and the things they've done to children and to women. You know, most of us don't even think of things like that. So it is a shock. And when we find out how many are involved, it's going to be crazy. So anyway, that's why I'm still patient to some extent. I just know that our time is short. We have to act. And I've been calling for that a long time, because I just don't want it to slip underneath and lose the chance, because this is our last chance. If we don't succeed now, it's going to be hell on earth. Okay, it just is. Michael, oh yes, Michael. I don't know what I should say about you here, Michael. Let me just tell everybody, Michael is a hero. Michael Brandes, Brandes. Yes, he is a hero. Right on, buddy. Right on. You know, that came in just the nick of time, because well, I'll just leave it there. If you want to explain what you did, you can do that. It's on Twitter for people to see. But Michael is a hero. My hat is off to you. My heart goes out to you. May you have joy and rejoicing in your life and in the life of your loved ones. And thank you for standing up for the perfect law of liberty. I don't know what your spiritual orientation is, but you have what I call the spirit of the perfect law of liberty, the spirit of Jesus Christ in you. Thank you so much. To free those in prison, to stand up for what's right, to protect the innocent, to identify the corrupt and the guilty. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Where's Julian Assange? In my view, oh man, I don't like speculating, but I'll tell you one thing. It's pretty obvious that he's now a weapon in Trump's hands. I think that's pretty obvious. I'll just leave it at that. Yes, false flags. We've talked about it a lot. Whenever the cabal, I'll just call it that, gets cornered, remember I've said for a long time, they would just as soon destroy the whole world as lose power. Okay? So they're going to pull off a lot of things. Now, according to Q, we're all safe. I've been in there at times when, you know, I've heard that before. You need to make sure that you take the proper precautions. Keep your situational awareness up. If you can carry, do that. You know, concealed carry. Certainly around your home, although I wouldn't anticipate problems there. We're going to see other things. I worry about, you know, airports, train stations, sporting events, malls, things like that. So just use your situational awareness. Remember the Vegas thing. Who would have thought that that was going to happen, right? And it could happen again. Now, they're assuring us that we're going to be safe, but your safety, your well-being, your self-defense is your responsibility. And what does responsibility mean? Your Second Amendment is a responsibility, and it means your ability to respond. If you don't have an ability to respond, to defend yourself or your loved ones, you've lost, you've failed in your responsibility, right? So just be careful. How prepared are the White Hats to deal with multiple threats? I'm sure Trump has left no plan, no possible course of action left unturned. But in war, it's all risky, okay? It's all risky. You can have the best op plan, the best op order, all the best equipment, all the best trained soldiers, period, and you're going to have casualties. So that just shows you how evil and corrupt the cabal is. Okay, the deep state, the black cat part of the deep state. Too fast. I talk too fast? Is that what you mean? I don't know. Take care of Shadow. Anons have never said they would take care of Shadowban. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure where you're coming from with that, but nobody seems to want to take care of Shadowbans. I know. Sarcasm doesn't become me. Wow, you and I wouldn't get along very well, would we? Let's see. Roy, keep wising us up on what a bad actor Trump is. I want to hear more. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I think he's genuine. Okay, I do. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not perfect. You know, I'm not going to cast a stone at a guy when I'm guilty of some of the same things. Okay. I honestly think he's doing the best he can. I wish he hadn't filled his offices in the administration with neocons and deep staters. I can't explain that. I just can't explain it. I don't understand it. I don't. But then you see people like Steve Bannon, you know, who turned out to be a mole after all. Maybe Trump knew that at the beginning. I don't know. It's a tricky place up there. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I think I've told you all this before. My mom worked in the government and worked for NASA. Well, I don't know if she worked for NASA, but I think she did. I'm not sure what her deal was there at the Goddard Space Flight Center. But I grew up around D.C., and it is a wicked, evil town, okay? I just got to tell you, even when I was a kid, I knew that. I had a lot of respect for the ideas of liberty and, you know, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. But I found out early on that those people in D.C. don't have any respect for those things. None. Zero. They talk a good line. No, they would steal a nickel from their mother and make sure she drowned in the process. They're not good people. So Trump's dealing with some difficult things. So I don't know. Maybe his approach was the way to do it. It wouldn't have been mine, but he's the genius, not me. I just watch what his fruits are. And if his fruits go bad, what did I do last summer? And I got castigated for it later when I saw that he had changed course, or apparently had, and started doing what I thought he should be doing. I put out that video that was called "Coup Succeeds, Trump Concedes." You remember that? You know, and I think it has like 100,000 views now. My point was that he gave in on the Russia deal where they were going to, in essence, they're blockading Russia, right? It was a situation to punish Russia. which I thought was totally wrong based on the lack of evidence, which we know about now, et cetera, all of that. You know, Trump had run on normalizing, on improving relations with Russia, and then that happened. And I said, that's evidence that the deep state, the bad side, is getting to him. You know, the neocons, the Trotskyites, all that stuff, who hate Russia because they want to take it back over again. They don't care if they kill 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, 50 million people. They're evil. You know, Bill Kristol, you know, Pearl, Cheney, Bushes, I mean, all of them. So it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal. So I called him out on it. I've called him out on anything that I didn't think was right because I'm not a yes man. But by the same token, have I not said when he does something good, right on, President Trump, that's exactly right? Am I always right in my evaluations? Probably not. But I go by what he promised in his campaign. When he said a week after when he was elected, he was now president-elect, and he was being interviewed. I forget who the reporter was, but they said, I think it was a lady, and she said, it may have been Bartromo, I'm not really sure, but she said, are you going to prosecute Clintons? And he waffled because that had been a campaign promise. He goes, well, they're good people, you know. And I went, that's too far. Calling the Clintons good people? No way. They're not good people, Trump. That's going too far. You can say it may not be politically expedient, which I wouldn't agree with either, but calling them good people, no, Trump. That's wrong. That's absolutely 100% wrong. So it depends on what he does. So I'm not excusing him for what he does wrong, like the firing the rockets into Syria. I still think that was wrong, the missiles from the Navy ships. I'm not sure of what's really going on in Afghanistan. I know he went after the CIA drug labs, which were good, but the other things that are going on, I'm not so sure about. But I know he's dealing with a tricky game here, so I'm giving him some leeway, obviously. And if he collars these people, these pedophiles, these FBI agents, DOJ guys who were trying to overthrow the government, the elected government, and did all of these lies and deceptions with the FISA court, et cetera, and I'm going to call it wiretapping. I know it's not that, but just for the sake of everybody's understanding. All the things that happened there, the murders involved, the thefts, the land thefts, the money sent to Iran, the drugs to Hamas, I mean, on and on and on. The pedophilia networks, that is, pedophiles and women are the currency of the elites. They've got the money, ladies and gentlemen, so what else do they do? These horrible things that we hear about that they do to women and children are true. And I have had direct investigative experience on seeing that, and I really don't want to talk about it. Okay? All right, so that's where I stand on Trump. Let's see. Arrest the Pope. Jews need to be gassed. Oh, Jews. Oh. Let's not go there, guys. That's bad. No, I never had any charges, polygamous charges. No. See, you guys don't even understand what the law is, okay? And I'm not going to go there tonight. Okay, like I said, I'll give you my life story sometime. No, I've never been charged with any crime, period. I think I had one traffic ticket. I think I was going 70 in a 55 or something like that. The only parking ticket I ever got, I was able to beat because they said I had parked in front of a fire hydrant, and it wasn't. It was a place for revenue because a lot of people that get a ticket won't even question it, right? But of course, I've been a cop, and I look around, I don't see the fire hydrant. It was 30 feet away from the curb, attached to a building. There was no paint on there and no sign. So as soon as I got it, I took a picture. I had a camera with me. I took a picture of it, went into the city prosecutor, and I said, and he dismissed it. So I think I've had one traffic ticket, one speeding ticket my entire life. Nothing else. Zero. Zilch. All right? So anybody who says I'm a criminal, no. I mean, standing up at Bundy Ranch, boy, there were some feds that wanted to make me a criminal there. But, you know, other than saying that they were doing things that were wrong and that those people had a right to defend themselves, I didn't commit any crime. And they knew that. Nasara. Okay, I've been asked about that before. I don't want to take too long tonight. We're coming up on an hour. I don't want to ever uh, discourage people from searching things out on their own, because me telling you isn't going to help you to figure it out. I can give you information, which is what the Nasara thing is, you know, but there are some things you just have to look at yourself. I'll say this about Nasara. I don't spend any time on it. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. Potter smokes crack. John Appleseed. I've never smoked, never will, never had drugs, never tried anything. Sorry. You know, sorry. Yeah, well, but see, yeah, Francis, thank you. He's saying, Roy, the trolls have almost taken over your comments completely. Yeah, I know. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? We're over the target. They're being funded and encouraged by deep state, black hat side, by CIA. There's still some black hats in the NSA, although I think Rogers has tried to clean that out, but that's a really tough job to do. You know, corporations that hire these people to do it. The OFA, you know, Obama's thing, you know, to help overthrow the Trump administration and to come after people like me. I've already mentioned Media Matters. We could go on and on. We know that this is all being funded. George Soros being the front for the passage of the deep state money that was illegally gotten by murder, like hitting the Pentagon on 9/11, drug trafficking, pedophile, homosexual, human trafficking, pedophilia trafficking, women trafficking, things like that. That's where the money came from. It didn't come from Soros's bank account. It just went through his account, and nobody has the guts to go after him except maybe Trump. And I think he's already after him if he hasn't already got him. We haven't seen much of Soros lately, have we? Anybody seen him? I think they neutralized him some time ago. Okay. Yeah, I'm tired. Oh, who is this? What's this now? Pink Fox 56. Oh, you're all right. Rock Roy and gorgeous despite being tired. Wow. You know, I just started dating again. Did I tell you that? I just started dating again. It's been a long time. My wife died in 2008, and I dated a little bit, which was a disaster. I can't really talk about it because I don't want to put the lady on on edge, you know, for what happened. But regardless, I've been real careful, and I've gone on some dates here lately. I said the other day, you know, I wanted to go out on a beach with some nice lady. That kind of happened, not exactly that, but thank you, Pink Fox. I appreciate that. What is the report coming out tomorrow? I believe it is. There are a number of things that are happening. The OIG thing, of course, on the Fusion GPS, and the corruption over the FISA warrant and the FBI and the Steele dossier, the Russian dossier. A lot of that. You're going to see a crazy week this week. False flags to cover up the information that's going to be coming out. I would hope not any assassination attempts, but I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. These people are really have been backed in the corner. It's all ready to blow up in their face. And a lot of people, you know, they're just not going to believe it. And again, they had to be prepped to know that these things were going on, because if it had just happened all at once, nobody would have believed it. I mean, people like us, most of us would have, but the general population would have thought that it was, you know, Stalin killing off all of his opponents. And that's not what it is at all. As a matter of fact, they were going to do that. If they got into power, they were going to get rid of all us. And if you don't believe that, go look at the Weatherman plan, right? From back in the 70s. Okay. How many open forum operations have you compromised? Just don't threaten anybody. Don't threaten them. Don't threaten them with bodily harm. Don't threaten them with death. And I don't care what you talk about. But you do that, and we're coming for you. Okay? All right, I think we're done. All right, yeah, bye, Jack. Yeah, there's Roy Trump's not going to England because there's been yet another assassination attempt. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Who can handle being called a name? Seriously, come on now. Okay, I don't see any pertinent things going on here, so I'm going to go. Hopefully that gave you some background information. I'm sure I'm going to be hearing from some people associated with the Q team. They're not gonna. I'm not bolstering myself here. I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I've been warning, don't do this, don't do this. This is getting out of control, and when we start getting threats, it's out of control. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. Yeah, the calm before the storm. It's now the storm. Okay, it is now the storm. It really is. So what are my mantras? Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Yeah, you may not need it, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And it's better to be ready, you know, a year too early than a moment too late. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears on the ground. God bless you. God bless President Trump. And God bless the United States of America, the constitutional republic, and its restoration of the United States of America. Good night, everybody.